What if I told you there are people out there who are pushing the absolute limits of what we think is humanly possible? Folks who have developed what you could almost call superhuman abilities to thrive in the ocean. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But what if a group of people on our very own planet are already kind of partway there? So let's dive right in and meet them. All right, our story kicks off with the Bajau people of Southeast Asia. You might have heard them called sea people or sea nomads, and trust me, they've more than earned those names. I mean, for over 1,000 years, these folks have lived a nomadic life completely centered on the ocean. We're talking houseboats, hunting and gathering everything they need right from the sea. This isn't just a job for them, you know? It's their entire way of life, and it has literally shaped who they are. Just try to wrap your head around this, spending up to 60% of your workday underwater, every single day. For a Bajau diver, that's just a normal Tuesday. That's an absolutely mind-boggling amount of time to be holding your breath. And yeah, we're not talking about just splashing around in the shallows. The Bajau can dive down over 70 meters. That's 230 feet. And they do it with basically nothing. No scuba gear, just some weights and a pair of homemade wooden goggles. Seriously, that's like diving down the side of a 20-story building. Just wow. So the Bajau are clearly amazing, but they're not the only ones with this incredible history of breath-hold diving. To really get some perspective here, let's take a look at another legendary group of divers, the Ama of Japan. So here they are, the Ama, also known as the Sea Women of Japan. And this illustration really gives you a feel for their traditional methods. Their story proves that this kind of diving isn't some new extreme sport. It's a deeply ancient human skill. And when I say ancient, I mean it. This tradition goes back over 2,000 years. You can see on this timeline how they've adapted over time, introducing simple goggles way back in the 1870s, eventually adopting wetsuits, but all along, they've kept those core breath-holding skills alive. And they've got some really sophisticated techniques, too. There are two main styles. You've got the Kachido, who just swim right out from the shore, and then there's the Funado. They work from boats and use weights to go deeper. Sound familiar? A lot like the Bajau. It just goes to show how much knowledge about the ocean has been passed down through generations. Okay, so how on earth is any of this even possible? I mean, how can a human body handle that kind of pressure, that lack of oxygen? Well, the answer is pretty cool. It's a hidden superpower that actually we all have. It's called the mammalian diving response, and it's this ancient, totally automatic reflex that all mammals share. Yep, from seals all the way to us. The second you hold your breath and dunk your face in some cold water, bam, this whole cascade of changes just happens. So let's walk through it. First thing, your heart rate takes a nosedive. That's called bradycardia. Then the blood vessels in your arms and legs get narrower, pushing blood to your core. And finally, your spleen actually squeezes itself, releasing this amazing boost of oxygen-packed red blood cells into your system. The whole process is just a genius survival mechanism. It's all about rerouting that precious oxygenated blood to the organs that absolutely need it to keep you going, your heart and your brain. Your body basically turns into this super efficient survival machine. Right, so every one of us has this reflex. So what's the deal with the Bajau? What makes them so different? How can they go so much deeper and stay down so much longer than pretty much anyone else? This, my friends, is where the science gets really, really cool. And that was the big question for the scientists. Was this amazing ability just a result of a lifetime of hardcore training, like an athlete? Or had 1,000 years of living in the ocean actually left a permanent mark on their DNA? So to figure this out, scientists came up with a really clever study. They looked at the Bajau, our lifelong divers, and they compared them to the Salawan. Now, the Salawan are a group that lives nearby. They're genetically similar, but they're farmers. They have almost no interaction with the sea. This made them the perfect control group. So they took some saliva for DNA analysis and brought along a portable ultrasound machine to measure one particular organ. And what they found, well, it was visually stunning. I mean, look at this chart. Even if you don't read the labels, you can see the difference immediately. On the left, you've got the Bajau's spleens. On the right, the Saluan. The results couldn't have been clearer. On average, the Bajau people have spleens that are a whopping 50% larger than their land-based neighbors. We're not talking about a small difference here. This was a massive, undeniable physiological distinction. So why is that such a big deal? Well, you can think of the spleen as a kind of biological scuba tank. It's where you store a reserve of oxygen-rich red blood cells. So when that diving reflex kicks in, the spleen squeezes and shoots that extra oxygen into your bloodstream. A bigger spleen, that just means a bigger scuba tank. And that means more time underwater. And get this, it wasn't just a change that happened from training. The researchers were clear. This is evolution. In real time. Natural selection, playing out over hundreds of generations, simply favored the people who had a gene for a larger spleen. It gave them a huge survival advantage. You know, this whole discovery about the Bajau's adaptation, it's way more than just a cool piece of trivia. It has some really profound implications for how we understand ourselves and what it even means to be human. And this really, really matters. I mean, it's one of the clearest examples we have of human evolution happening in modern times. It shows how our culture, in this case, a diving lifestyle, can actually drive changes in our DNA. And from a medical standpoint, it gives scientists a whole new model for studying hypoxia, oxygen deprivation. And that's critical for everything from surgery to lung disease. When you look at the story of the Bajau, it just proves that the human body is so much more adaptable than we probably give it credit for. And it really makes you wonder, right? What other incredible adaptations, what other hidden superpowers might be tucked away in our DNA, shaped by the lives our ancestors lived, just waiting for their moment to show up?